the test to see how well our sound is this week. What do you think?
I think we sound pretty amazing as always.
Yeah. It's too hot. I don't know if I can sound better.
If you die of a heat stroke during filming, this will be our only message to the world. What's your last message to the world going to be if we die of a heat stroke right now?
You got a brand new pair of rollerblades. I got a brand new key. You?
If at first you don't succeed, keep going until you do succeed.
Wow.
Profound, right?
Found. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crom Cast, Cromulent Comics only podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and this is
Andy.
And thank you so much for joining us. This is episode 3, is our official episode.
Episode 3, but we filmed 4. Do I do this every time?
Why do you have to do that every time? 0 was just like an intro.
But it's still an episode.
It's not a full episode.
Yeah, but we still filmed ourselves. We recorded it. It's out to the masses. People know us now. But now they're going to be like, this is their 4th time recording. But it's episode 3. What is going on here? And this is what's going on here. This is your weekly comic book podcast where we talk about comic books that are coming out next week, pop culture news, and all of that fun, great stuff. Andrew, what would you like to talk about first today?
Are we going through our picks?
Picks.
Okay, so we got a lot of cool books that are out this week. A couple of ones that I really want to point out. Superman number 27 is out this week. This is Joshua Williamson continuing his amazing run on Superman. Absolutely loving and enjoying this. This kind of sets up the next big story arc that is really going to be the next big arc for DC Comics, which is going to lead into their giant event next fall. So I'm pretty excited for this.
Would you say you're all in?
Yes, I would say that I'm all in.
Brand says all in.
Yeah. What book you got?
So I have Ultimate Spider-Man number 18. This is a great start of a new arc where Spider-Man goes back to New York after a little
excursion,
hiatus.
Yeah.
And he and Harry are doing some chicanery.
Harry's back?
Oh, is that a spoiler?
Yes.
I guess. Well, that shit came out like 2 months ago now. Pick it up here, cool. Cromulent Comics.
Yep. What else you got?
And then I also have Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 4. This is where things fully come into a head. We kind of see what's going on with the struggle between the Martians and then the White Martians, but also some family drama with the Jones family.
Nice. I really like the smell of this book.
You gonna snort it?
Snort it like he snorts thoughts.
Is that a thing?
People snort? He smells the thoughts.
Oh, I guess you're right, yeah.
And then my next book, which will kind of bring us into our main topic today, is The New History of the DC Universe. Mark Waid and a bunch of amazing artists are on here. We've got Todd Knock, Jerry Ordway doing this. And we've got Chris Samney doing a wonderful wraparound cover. What's cool about this is it's told from the perspective of Barry Allen, who's been chronicling the history of the DC universe, and it's almost written like an actual storybook. But then towards the end, half the book is actual research, actual footnotes, and the timeline of the DC universe and how to read it essentially in order. Really cool stuff. I love things like this. This reminds me back of the DC Who's Who's or Encyclopedia of Marvel characters or the Secret Files and Origins that DC used to do. Really, really fun. It's only going to be 4 issues. This one really gets us up to the Silver Age of characters. So this is everything that you need to know about the Golden Age of the DC universe.
Yeah, so it's going to be each of the 4 ages. First one's a golden, silver, bronze, and then
modern.
Modern?
Yeah.
So they need a better name than modern because I feel like what counts as when does the Bronze Age end?
Well, some people consider the other age as copper now. That's post Bronze Age, and now it's copper, and then we're in the modern current.
But when does the Bronze Age end though? The 90s?
Great question. We don't really know. Maybe X-Men number 1, I feel would be the end of the Bronze Age.
That's what I'm thinking too.
and then that would probably be the beginning of the Copper Age.
But I was also thinking the start.
And I think the Copper Age would end at Ultimate Spider-Man.
I'd say the Copper Age would be more like start of New Avengers, maybe. What do you think?
I don't know. We're getting too into
The nitty-gritty.
nitty-grit, the entire industry.
This is why they need a book like this. They can streamline when all these ages are. So people, you showed Superman.
Yep.
Show the actual cover, you dingus.
That's not even the same book.
Really?
You dingus.
Oh.
There's 4 books here, buddy.
Okay, but still show the main cover. It's a great cover. Chris Samney. Listen, David already did. Show him more. Ooh, that's a money shot if I ever said so. Called Saw Show. Seen it? I don't know.
It's like 107 degrees today.
We're dying.
Yeah. So, well, why don't we get into our first subject?
Yeah.
What do we got?
So, with the release of the new History of the DC Universe #1, me and Andrew thought it would be a good idea to go over our history with the DC Universe and kind of talk about how we kind of got into DC Comics, stories we kind of got into first, or like the different shows we got into first, and get us into this.
Sure.
Yeah. Into this publisher.
I'm a little older than you. So I would say like my biggest intro to DC was definitely Batman. Originally, I watched reruns of Adam West growing up, and I also the animated series aired. I remember, I think, watching the first episode live of the animated series. One of those weird things that I actually vividly remember.
On Leather Wings?
Yep, on Leather Wings. It was at 6:00 at night on Fox, because it was on after all the cartoons typically, and right before like Simpsons and stuff would air. So that was pretty cool. That way they could get around a lot of the Saturday morning things because they would air it later at night. I mean, Batman the Animated Series, Adam West Batman, I was obsessed with. Michael Keaton Batman, I probably carried that tape around everywhere. And then Superman the Animated Series kind of blew my mind and opened up everything else that I really enjoy about.
If you haven't caught on yet, he's kind of a Superman fan.
But I also, like, I don't remember when, but I remember watching all the Superman movies as a kid too. I think when it comes to the comics, though, themselves, I have a little bit more insight as to what my first comics were. Wizard magazine used to come out in grocery stores, and I would the covers were always eye-catching.
Oh yeah.
So I would grab Wizard magazines and read about comics that I had no idea existed. And so from there, I found out about Kingdom Come. I found out about Dark Knight Returns, and other titles that I really knew I had to kind of track down. There was a local bookstore by me, Friar Tuck Books. And they would sell some comics. So I would pick up Archie Ninja Turtles, some Superman, some Spider-Mans, and that was really it. And it was just kind of random issues here and there. It was a completely different time for comics. Like Jean Valjean was Batman, and it was
the guy from Les Mis.
Yeah, John Paul Valley, John Valjean,
Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, that version,
because that's the one I saw in theaters when it came out.
God, not Liam Neeson.
Gladiator. Who's Gladiator?
Russell Crowe.
He was in that one too.
So yeah, it was a weird time. As I got older, I really wanted to discover more comics. And so I really wanted to read The Dark Knight Returns. I thought it sounded so cool. And I went to a little thing that there used to be called a phone book. And I looked up in the phone book in the yellow pages. This was a lot of research and a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
I looked up comic books.
Whoa.
And that's where I found Earthworld,
where I work.
Yeah. And I called them and I asked if they had it. They said yes. So I begged my parents and we drove out there. And I got Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. It was like the 10th anniversary edition or something like that. And I absolutely loved it. But, as a 12-year-old kid, that book is pretty phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Does it hold up? That's for you to decide in the comments below. Comment below if DKR, Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, Still holds up. Inked by Klaus Janson. Oh yeah. In the comments below. Comment.
No shout out to Lynn Varley.
Did she color it then?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought she started coloring during DK2 or like in the 90s, like during Sin
I thought
City.
they got divorced by DK2.
Comment below when Frank Miller and Lynn Varley got divorced.
So yeah. So I went to Earthworld and I got Dark Knight Returns, loved it, and then I was a really big Kevin Smith fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the news broke out that he was writing Green Arrow, I had to go, and that's what started my monthly subscription at Earthworld. Was getting Green Arrow. So that's around like 2001.
So what were the first books you subscribed to? Like
Green Arrow, Ultimate Spider-Man, Superman, Nightwing.
Was that during Devin Grayson or Chuck Dixon still?
I think it was Grayson. No, it might have been Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon ones I definitely read at Prior Talk. But so yeah. And then I think what formed my absolute love of comics is because I would force my mom to go to Earthworld every week. Was, I don't know, on a whim, they used to have a spin rack that had comic book sets.
Okay.
And on a whim, she picked up one because it had Robin on it. And yeah, it was A Lonely Place of Dying. It was a set of The Lonely Place of Dying, introduction to Tim Drake. And got hooked onto that, and I absolutely loved it. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been a DC nerd and I've been a DC fan ever since. Oh, and I'm sorry, predating all of this, going back to like before Batman the Animated Series or anything like that. Batman, The Untold Story of Batman by Len Wein, John Byrne, Jim Aparo. There was a compact version of it in a black and white floppy where they cut the panels out to put it into a smaller format. Weird. Very odd. That was the first Batman book I ever read. And so that kind of, I still own it. I got it signed by Jose Garcia Lopez, who did the cover art last year. It's torn to shreds, but it's one of my favorite things.
You still own it?
Yep. Yeah. So I got it signed by him. And I will buy that book over and over again. So yeah, we're going to pause and then we're going to go to Andy.
Telephone. You know, if we ever get ads, that'd be a perfect place to put in an ad break.
I could probably put a fake ad in there.
Like what kind of fake ad?
Well, I do a lot of, not fake ads, but I upload a lot of ads to our sister channel, Cromulent Video, which has a lot of like old 90s and 80s and 2000s ads.
Okay.
So I can always put an ad there. Okay. But I don't know, if we ever want to monetize this, then we probably can't.
Yeah.
So let's not. We can put a fake ad in there. Make up a jingle right now.
Muffins. What's that from? Psych. One of our favorite shows.
That wasn't making up a jingle then.
Yeah, it's Muffins though.
No, but that's not a. I asked you to make up. Not for here, just in general, make up a jingle.
For what though?
Anything that we can put an ad for. A fake ad.
We can't do an ad for Muffins.
But you didn't make that up.
Fine. Well, you want to come up with one original on the spot.
On the spot, jingle, go.
You want a dog? Buy a dog. Cromulent Comics sells dogs.
Not about Cromulent. Oh my God! All right, what's your history of DC?
So, like most people, I got my start with watching cartoons, but since I'm a little bit older than Andrew over here.
You're older than me?
Wait, shit, younger. I'm younger than you. Since I'm younger than you, there we go.
Yep. You grew up with Super Friends and
Teen Titans Go.
Super Friends.
Not Teen Titans Go, just regular Teen Titans.
Super Friends and like what else? Like the serials of Shazam? Because you're older than me?
Like the series you eat?
So you grew up with Teen Titans Go and Superhero Girls.
Yes, I also grew up with the Batman, the cartoon show.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I love that show. Don't you dare disrespect it. Don't you dare. They gave us Joker with long hair before Heath Ledger. Pretty cool. Votes by Kevin Michael Richardson. Come on. Well, whatever. I also grew up on Young Justice, which in last week's episode he said he wasn't a fan of. So, yeah. I also grew up with like the Dark Knight trilogy. What other DC superhero movies? I rewatched like the old Batman movies, like '89, Batman Returns, Forever, and Robin. So those ones too. But
Mhm.
I guess I'll get into comics. So I got into comics through going to the library. Like I feel like a lot of people did that. They go to the library and just got whatever they had at the library. So back then, when I remember reading a lot of like comic wise, was
I
like
will interject. The library really didn't have comics when I was a kid.
really
Yeah.
for me they had like graphic novels or trade paperbacks.
No, that's
Really,
a more modern thing.
that's crazy. So I remember the first Batman one I read. Oh God, what was it? It was I think it was the Return of Bruce Wayne. Now that I think about it,
Oh my god,
I know,
I feel so old.
I
Yeah,
know,
I
but
love
like,
those. Yep.
and then I think it was a lot of like Grant Morrison era Batman. So Batman and Robin, or not Batman and Robin, and Batman and Son.
So you started reading when I was already working at a comic book store.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like 8.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, but when I really started getting into comics regularly is when the MCU started coming in full force. So I started off as a Marvel kid, but I still read DC. And around that time, DC had a very new reader friendly initiative going on called the New 52, which very divisive to this day, but it got me in the comics. So I really started reading. My first titles were Batman by Scott Snyder, which I think still holds up pretty well. Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, and during that era, because Green Lanterns was everywhere during that time. What else? I was reading some Superman, but I remember really remembering what's going on in Superman when he lost his powers. Was it? It was either was it Gene Lewin Yang or Greg Pak who was doing that, or was
And
it both?
I think it was both, and that's towards the ends of the New 52,
Yeah,
isn't it? Or middle,
that's
around
something
the
middle.
30s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around the 30s. What else did they do? Yeah, those were big for me during then. But also during that time, I'd also go pick up the Red Hood and the Outlaws. That was big for me too. Yeah. What else? But I also like started going back and read older trades. Like I remember buying Batman Year One and The Long Halloween when I was in a comic book store in North Carolina. Just because I happened to be there, I just started getting the comics, and the restaurant we were at was right next to us. Like, Mom and Dad, can I buy some comics? They're like, sure. And I remember reading The Long Halloween and Year One that night while I was waiting for my dinner. My book was underneath the table, and just devouring that book. And I still have like it's still a newer copy compared to maybe someone you
Mhm.
have, but it was still like it's still I still have like all the comics I had when I was a kid.
Nice.
And then when I really started getting serious in the comics was Rebirth. So that's when I would so back then I would read them all digitally.
When did you start working at the store? Was it around Rebirth or
No,
after?
that was so I started working at the store in 2020 during COVID. Remember?
No,
Because when we
clearly not.
clearly not. So we worked together at a comic book store, and it was during COVID. Because remember, I didn't see your mouth for like several months until
Yeah.
masks were gone. Yeah, so Rebirth was when I started reading like regularly. And I remember reading Tom King's Batman, Superman by Tomasi. What else? Green Lantern and Green
So, like, at
Lanterns.
least the positive is while you started in the New 52, you could only go up.
Yeah, exactly. Like Rebirth's going to turn 10 years old next year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Rebirth was great.
And then I read Rebirth, and then, like I said, I bought digitally, but I bought the trades. So I was a trade waiter, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And then when I started having a subscription at a comic book store was when I moved, because I went to college at Geneseo, but then during COVID I went back home, transferred to St. Rose, rest in peace, beautiful college, whatever. And then Three Jokers is when I started subscribing at Earthworld and becoming
Gotcha.
a weekly Wednesday warrior.
Nice.
So that's kind of my history with comic books and a little bit of DC. But like I'd say I was always a Marvel guy,
Hmm.
but in the past 5 years I've become more of a DC fan.
Yeah.
Just because not to throw shade at Marvel, it's there's just more there's more stories because they've been around for longer, so I can go back and read more. And also there's just more evergreen stories. Like if I want to read Marvel, I have to like there's so many runs
You
and
have
there's
to purge through Marvel books. Marvel has great runs on comics,
hmm
and they're great to read as they're coming out. DC has great standalone stories.
yeah.
DC's always had a better um, backlog of graphic
Oh
novels and
definitely.
individual stories and non-connected titles. Whereas like Marvel, you got to be prepared to do some research if you want to start reading Marvel comics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few things that stand alone, like the Spider-Man blues,
Oh yeah. Like,
Marvels.
Raven's Last Hunt.
Sure, I'll give you that one.
They want to make it evergreen, even though it's really not.
I know, I do love that.
It has a lot of baggage in it.
But even like stuff like the Phoenix Saga is very hard to just sit
It
down and read
is.
because it went on for. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
saga.
Because you should really start with reading Giant Size X-Men #1, and then going on and going on.
Which is what I did in high school.
That's what I did during my big X-Men read through years ago.
Start in 1975, go to 1985, and you're pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just only read 10 years worth of books.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. That's easy, right?
Oh, now it is, because like you have like online stuff like Marvel Unlimited, and the not to throw stuff towards them, or you could go to a comic book store and buy the Epic collections.
There you go, Andy. There you go.
Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, buy Epic collections here at Cromulent Comics. Write down below what your favorite Epic collection is in the comments. No.
But yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good history of our history of DC.
Yeah, just our history of comics in general. It's truncated. We'll probably go into more idiosyncratic stuff in the future, but that's just a pretty broad overview. Checking your phone right now?
Yeah, well, Nintendo just added more tracks from Yoshi's Story onto the Nintendo Music app. That's huge news. Go on.
Yeah, so how about you guys comment down below what your first DC comic is?
And what your favorite track from Yoshi's Story from the Nintendo 64 is?
Yeah, I guess. I've never played it, so.
I know, because you're a little baby.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I was born in 2001.
Yeah, you were born before me. You're older than me.
Yes, to bring it back to.
Yeah. I'm a little baby. I was born in 2005.
What was that accent?
A little baby accent.
A little of a country thing going on there.
Yeah, I'm a little baby.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I like this better than your actual voice.
Baby. I'm a baby. It's really warm. What do you got?
So next other pretty big news that came out is it was just announced that all of the Ultimate titles, or at least the ones going on right now, the ongoing ones, will be ending at issue 24 to lead into the Maker's return. I think
they're all ending, no matter what. So Wolverine's ending at 12.
Yeah.
Everything's ending when the Maker comes back, which makes me feel like, one, we're going to get like a 6-issue mini.
Yeah.
Most likely Hickman.
Well, my theory is, can I tell you my theory? So all the other Ultimate titles started a few months ahead of Ultimates. I feel the story is going to continue on with Ultimates, then that ends with issue 24, and then the event's going to happen.
I could see them doing that, but that's a long wait to not have
books on the racks. Yeah.
And the Ultimate books have been consistently their best sellers.
Oh, definitely.
At least for me, Marvel-wise. So I have a feeling that Incursion and whatever next event or arc ends, that's all going to start into whatever this mini is or maxi.
Or
I think it's going to be event. I think it's going to be Hickman, and I think it's going to be Camp. I think are going to be the two heads of it.
Definitely.
As for what comes after,
who knows?
They'll probably relaunch the Ultimate Universe again, hopefully, or they'll continue back up where the books ended.
That's what
that would be preferable because, as we discussed, I don't like it's diminishing returns every time you start it with a new number one. So I would prefer like if Ultimate Spider-Man 25 was the next book after that. But
or
who knows?
If they were to reboot it, I would know that'd be cool. Ultimate Spider-Man with Peter and Richard as like co-leads of the book.
Yep.
And then for Ultimate X-Men, they could do. I don't even know. Would you?
There's a lot.
There's a lot they could do.
But I don't think Peach Momoko will stay on.
Probably not. Like that book's also like it's been delayed a few times. Like, you could tell that like I wouldn't say she's getting burnt out, but you could tell it's been a lot of strain and effort on her part because she's doing everything.
Yeah.
Like she's writing it, she's drawing it. Is she coloring it?
I have no idea. But it's a great book, and I do love that.
Oh, me too. It's like a Studio Ghibli. Well, maybe not Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
But it's very. I don't know how to describe it. It's very I don't know. It's very good. It's very good. I do like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. I think, like, in general, I think the Ultimate books have a specific arc and structure to them
Hmm.
that this is needed to be done.
Yeah.
The way that they all count down, the way that they all work in real time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going to go. But we don't have much longer. I have a feeling they'll probably announce something either at San Diego or
New York.
New York.
Because what issue 18 of Ultimate Spider-Man's coming out
Yep.
this week, and
Yep.
then 6 months ish till 24. So
We still got some time.
we still got some time for them to dish out what they're doing.
Yep.
Honestly, I could see them doing more towards New York. So
I could see them at least teasing it at San Diego.
yeah.
Um,
What's been your favorite Ultimate book?
my favorite Ultimate book is probably still Spider-Man.
Me too, but honestly,
Ultimates is really
he
close.
close second.
Yeah,
I've also been liking Ultimate Wolverine. I feel like that one's
that's the one I can't get into.
it's flying a bit under the radar. I
Yeah.
feel because it's very slow,
Yeah,
but I like it, and the art's amazing. It's by Alessandro Capuccio, who did Moon Knight for a few years,
hmm
and then Chris Condon, who I've been loving,
yeah,
doing Green Arrow at DC, and then like all his Indian Image
yeah.
books.
He's great,
Yeah, like so.
but it just it hasn't clicked with me as all the other ones have.
That's
The
fair.
original, like the original ones.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I will kind of give that another chance,
Yeah,
especially right before everything ends.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yeah, what else we got?
So also announced and or leaked this week is there. So for the Marvel and DC crossovers happening this fall, we found out it's not just going to be a Deadpool Batman book, but there's going to
Right.
be a
Well,
few.
we knew that there was going to be backup features.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
know like what they would be or like how
hmm
it would be. I guess.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is just the backup features for the Marvel printed version,
Yep, the Marvel one,
which is
Deadpool Batman.
Deadpool Batman.
Yep,
So what do we got? We got Zdarsky.
and Zazarsky doing Wonder Woman and Captain America with art by Terry Dodson.
Awesome.
Great, especially since Chip's writing the new ongoing Captain America run starting in a
Yep.
few months. There is also Kevin Smith returning to both Green Arrow and Daredevil
That's
with
pretty
art by
exciting.
Adam Kubert. Adam or Andy?
One of the Kuberts.
It's a Kubert. It's gonna look good regardless.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be interesting because when was the last time you wrote either of those characters?
Daredevil the Target.
Didn't that only one issue of that ever come out?
Uh-huh. Not holding that against him.
Yeah.
And then we've got Crypto and Jeff the Landshark by is that
Kelly Thompson.
Kelly Thompson.
And then
Perfect.
the artist is the person who's been doing
Oh, okay. The Jeff stuff.
all the Jeff stuff.
Perfect.
So the art's going to be consistent with that. So
that'll be cute.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that we're missing here
that's it
that we know of?
that we know of. There could be more.
There was a leaked, I think, cover, not cover, but like name for a cover, which was art germ, and it said magic. So my theory is magic and Zatanna
That's what I'm thinking too.
would be kind of cool.
Or maybe magic. And who else has a big sword in the DC universe?
Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but they wouldn't do that.
Then I don't know.
I could see more Magic and Constantine because they're both kind of broody and I wouldn't say assholey, but like snarky.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. But yeah, overall, I think that these sound really great. I'm excited to hear more. This is just the beginning of the DC Marvel stuff because we got next year that they said that there's more coming.
Yeah.
And then we also don't know who's writing the backup features in the Batman Deadpool that's going to be printed by DC.
What do you hope for? Well, let's take your wish list.
Wish list? I don't know. I could see them getting Dan Slott to do like a Spider Boy Damian.
I could see them do that.
Like I could definitely see Dan Slott writing a Spider Boy for DC. Flash and Quicksilver makes sense to do together.
One would be a cool one. And then beyond Spider-Man 2099.
That'd be very
That'd be
cool because
cool.
we haven't seen that.
No.
I would love to see Wolverine and Lobo team up again because they did that back in the old DC stuff. And then yeah, I mean, there's so many more modern characters too, though, that you could bring in.
I'd love to see Superman Fantastic Four.
Yeah, not modern, but yeah, I also agree with that. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool things that they can do. Teen Titans, X-Men, just bring it, just do it again. Like those are classics. They're
Yeah.
classics for a reason. The characters work well. You could do like a cosmic Ghost Rider, Green Lantern, or something. You could,
Ooh,
yeah,
that'd
you
be
could do a
interesting.
lot of
You
different
could,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really neat things that they could do that they haven't really played with. Moon Girl, Teen Lantern. Like you could just do so many different things. Now.
Ridiculous, but I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty psyched for all the different things that they have planned and what could possibly. What do you want to see?
What do I want to see? I feel like I want a Nightwing and Moon Knight.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like there's because we're in the future. We're going to talk about some of the crossovers that we liked in the past. Not like other than the obvious ones. I don't like a lot of big street level ones.
No, I think Nightwing and Spider-Man would be.
That'd be a
pretty
good one. Yeah.
I think those would.
I would say Nightwing Daredevil would be a great one too, but
Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't double dip.
With their Eskrima sticks. So who knows? Yeah, but I mean, also if they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
the heads of the books, I'm sure they'll double dip with.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
They're not just going to only use, Daredevil for one 4-page story or whatever.
That's fair.
No, there's a lot of really cool things that I think it has potential. Doctor Doom, Lex Luthor would be.
Oh, that'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some cool things.
We do.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched.
So how do we pivot to this? What were your favorite DC Marvel crossovers growing up?
I thought we were just going to talk crossovers in general.
Oh, we can do crossovers too.
Crossovers in general, I think, is a little bit easier because
Fair.
a lot of the DC Marvel ones in the past, other than JLA Avengers, which is my all-time favorite, they're good.
But some are hit or miss.
Some are hit or miss, but I think JLA Avengers is a perfect book.
Oh, definitely.
And that they better reprint that at some point in a way that people can actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my favorite crossovers in general, Superman Madman Hullabaloo is one of my all-time favorites, where Superman meets Madman and they get into a bunch of crazy things, and Superman and Madman actually merge into one person for a little bit.
Oh dear Lord!
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's beautiful art by Mike Allred. So yeah, I absolutely love that. Do you have any other like?
Should we do an indie one? I'll do an indie one.
You can do indie.
I like Batman the Max. I'm a low key, but like I like the Max. The Max is one of those '90s Image characters who's kind of fallen into obscurity, but I've always liked them. Especially, I've gone back and watched the MTV Liquid television cartoon, and that's honestly the best way to experience the Max is just watching that cartoon. All the episodes are on YouTube, so watch it on there. But like, it's just fun because it's Sam Keith, who hasn't drawn a comic book in years, to come back and do Batman and the Max. And then you get my favorite part was the awesome Jim Lee cover, because he's never drawn the Max beforehand.
Yeah. And
so it had like one of the other big '90s Image creator draw one of my favorite '90s Image characters. Was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And just the story was solid. Like it focused on like the earlier issues of the Max and focuses on that storyline. I liked it. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I like stuff like that.
Batman the Max Arkham Dreams.
Yep. No, those are really good. Did you like Crossover, the book Crossover?
I did like Crossover. Fun. That was fun. Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw.
Yep. Also brought in Madman.
But my favorite was when they brought in Powers.
Oh, okay. Not when they brought in Zdarsky.
That was great, though. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a really fun book as well.
It was literally like the biggest crossover comic.
Oh yeah. Oh, for independent.
Well, independent, yeah.
No, but like other like larger crossovers in general. I don't know. It's a tough question because there's been a lot, but then there's not many that like really stick out. I loved Warren Spector, who did DuckTales meets Darkwing Duck. This was back for Boom in the day.
Forgot
that was really that was really cool because it was finally the first time that we saw the through line of how Launchpad moved from DuckTales to Darkwing Duck. Never really explained that, other than that they just want to use the character again.
He's a great character.
So I always thought that was kind of a fun, interesting kind of little comic book crossover that people don't really talk about or anything. I think it's because they can't print it anymore.
That's fair. One of my favorites is forget which. I think it's Superman Fantastic Four, the Dan Jurgens one.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
a
was
fun
really
one.
good.
But
Yep.
what I liked about it was the main bad guy was Cyborg Superman.
Yep.
And Cyborg Superman started off as like a parody of the Fantastic Four, so to kind of bring that full circle,
that is
that was
very
pretty
cool.
fun.
Yep.
It's
I do
Dan
like that a lot.
Jurgens doing the art and writing it,
Yeah.
so you can't go wrong with Dan Jurgens.
Yeah.
And then didn't they also tease they're doing a Gargoyles Fantastic Four crossover?
This is the first I'm hearing
In
of
the
that.
free comic book day Gargoyles special, they tease at the end of it. I'm pretty sure it was Gargoyles Fantastic
I
Four.
know they're doing a Thundercats Powerpuff Girls series.
Really?
Yeah, that was in a free comic book day this past year.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty good.
I'm pretty sure they're doing
Sure, I can believe it at this point.
and then
in
they're
time.
doing Elvira Harley Quinn coming up.
Yeah, that I'm excited about.
That'll be fun.
And then there's every Godzilla crossover imaginable.
Ooh, Power Rangers TMNT. That's a great one.
That's a really fun one. Yeah, there's a lot of really good. Like I think in modern times, people have kind of gotten a lot better at fan service and also like kind of getting.
Well, also
Yeah.
the smaller publishers do a great job of doing the crossovers
Well,
too.
because they get the opportunity to use those characters, so they're going to actually put forth the effort.
Exactly. Like there's just two Power Rangers TMNT crossovers, and one of them is with Dan Mora on art.
Yeah.
The second one, I think.
Are they doing a third one?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And I think they're also going to do a third. Or no, yeah, a third Power Rangers Godzilla.
That's what I was thinking of. Sorry. Yeah, they're doing a third one of that. Power Rangers is just an easy one, I think, to cross over. The Power Rangers Justice League is great.
That's one. Tom Taylor. That's a great
that's
one.
That's a really fun one. Yeah.
They're doing DC Sonic the Hedgehog right now, which newish.
Really great.
Next issue's coming out next week, so
Wednesday.
pick it up here at Cromulent Comics
tomorrow. Yep. Or Wednesday, or whenever you're watching this. It's out 6/25. There you go. There's a lot of really fun. Spider-Man Invincible.
Spider-Man Invincible, which they somewhat brought back in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, I think in general, like whenever you have characters that team up that you just want to be able to see, it just makes everything a little bit more heightened.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're back at that again, where we kind of feel like kids, and we're like, what the hell are they going to do next?
Oh yeah, like from like the 2010s, I feel like these companies were just so stagnant and like, oh, these are my characters. No one else can play with them or touch them. But now they're like, oh, there's so much more potential and there's so much more, I hate to say it, money when you do these crossovers where it's going to be great sales all along. Like,
I think everything's kind of got hit by. I mean, Smash Brothers kind of started it, but Fortnite kind of created the world in which we live in now, where everything has to be under one roof.
Now the Sonic Racing one's doing like a big crossover with Minecraft.
Well, they used to have a lot of guest characters, but yeah, you're right. There's more in it. I know. It's a crazy, crazy world we live in. Anything can happen. Anything.
What if a meteor just fell through the roof right now?
It could happen. My favorite crossover is when Aunt May destroyed Galactus.
How's that a crossover?
With Franklin Richards.
How's that a crossover? It's all the same universe, though.
Yeah, but you never see Aunt May and Galactus.
That's a team up, technically. Then hate to burst your bubble, pal. But that's technically a team up.
My favorite is when Aunt May teams up with Joe Chill.
That would be an awesome crossover,
right?
It would be a cool. No,
she made him bad wheat cakes that morning.
One would be fun. Alfred and Aunt May doing something together.
That's gross, man. I don't want to know that.
Oh, you dirty.
It's super, super gross.
Who do you think would make better wheat cakes, Aunt May or Alfred? Alfred, you think so?
Yeah.
I feel like Aunt May's just made them so many times. She's kind of perfected the recipe.
Hold on, let me think. I'm sticking with Alfred.
Alfred.
I think Alfred would make better wheat cakes. Who do you think would make better Vichyssoise? Aunt May or Alfred?
Probably Alfred.
That's the correct answer.
Who do you think would make better chili than Green Arrow?
Oh, no one.
No one? You don't think so?
That's the correct answer. No one. I tried to make that chili once.
How did it turn out?
Not great.
Not great?
Not great.
Didn't they put a recipe in one of the comics one time?
It was Secret Files and Origins.
Is that what it was?
Green Arrow. Yeah. Kevin Smith's run. Yep. Fun stuff.
So
fun stuff.
Do you think Daredevil could make a good chili?
I don't.
With his
all of his senses are heightened. I don't think he would like any. I think he would like it mild.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they talk about that much, but I don't think Matt Murdock is going around tasting things that are too spicy. Mike Murdock, on the other hand, loves the spice life.
Is he alive?
I don't know. He's not even real.
He is. He is real. He's real to you and me. Anything's real if you dream.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for another Cromcast.
Cromulent Comics present Crom Cast. Cromulent Comics present Crom Cast.
Andy, 3 words or less. What's your favorite television crossover?
Mm.
3 words or less.
I'm trying to think, so give me some time. I gave you time to think of that. That doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Okay. All right. What is it? Go. Now thinking.
Timmy, Jimmy, Power Hour. Nickelodeon.
That's 4 words.
That's
5 words. You said Nickelodeon. It's The Simpsons Critic is the correct answer.
They made they made a Simpsons Critic crossover? No.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.
If we die of a heat stroke, tell the world we are still trapped in here, boiling alive like lobsters.
What?
Yeah. Remember at the beginning of the podcast, we talked about heat strokes.
I know. I think I just had one.